Recently, I showed you the ultimate 3-step guide to turning your company blog into a PR powerhouse. Today, we're going to go a little deeper. If you already have a blog, then you're on the right track to boosting website traffic, generating leads, and increasing revenue. But for your blog to actually achieve those things, you need a specific strategy for what goes on your blog and what doesn't. That's why today, we're going to talk about exactly how to know when you should write a blog post and when you should issue a press release instead. First, some quick PR 101 on each. A press release is issued on a newswire service like PR Newswire or Business Wire. And oftentimes, these press releases get auto-distributed on news sites like Yahoo News and MarketWatch. A press release is a distribution channel, and it costs money, often a few $1,000s per press release. A blog post is published on your blog. It lives on your website. It's your owned channel, and you own the distribution. So generally speaking, the people who will see your blog post are the people who already know who you are, your captive audience. Sure, you'll have the upfront and ongoing costs of your domain and your content management system, but overall, it's fair to consider each blog post to be free. There's a lot of nuance here, so when deciding what goes into a press release and what goes into a blog post, I wanted to give you a bunch of examples. Before we dive in, if videos like this interest you, be sure to like and subscribe. Our channel is going to be offering tons of tips and tricks to help you upgrade your content marketing strategy. Okay, so overall, the most important differences between a press release and a blog post comes down to impact versus outlook. A press release is used to indicate major business impact. Emphasis on impact. A blog post, on the other hand, is used to indicate minor business impact, and more importantly, your or your business's outlook on that impact. So when you're deciding between a press release and a blog post, first ask yourself, what exactly is my news? Figure out what the new thing is that you want to share with the world. Strip away any adjectives or qualifiers. Get it down to just a few words. If this is really difficult and you find yourself needing paragraphs to say what you're trying to say, then that's a sign that you actually need to write a blog post. Then ask yourself, does my news materially impact the industry? This can be hard to quantify, but basically, if your news is significant enough that you think a reporter might be interested in covering it, it probably has enough material impact to merit a press release. On the other hand, if it's your analysis or your outlook on the news that makes it interesting, there probably isn't significant market impact, and so it's better for a blog post. Remember, press release equals what is the thing. Blog post equals your outlook on the thing. Let's apply this to some examples of business impact. Funding. This is the most obvious example. Closing a funding round is press release worthy. It signals a next stage in your business, and it also signals growth in your industry. That's material impact. Funding news that would work better in a blog post might be a bridge round, or it might be a smaller investment, something around 6 figures or under. Sales. If you're a privately held company, then you're not legally required to issue financial press releases. But if you had a spectacular quarter where you've substantially increased monthly recurring revenue, or if your product has sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth, that could be a cool opportunity for a press release. Sales-related news that might work better in a blog post would be if one of your products sold out and you wanted to explain why. Launches. When you're launching a new service, product, or product offering that represents a substantial change from your existing offering, maybe the news allows for a totally new consumer behavior. That would be a good press release. But if you're announcing an upgrade to your software, or if you're an apparel company who's now selling sweaters, those are nice and they probably do improve the customer experience, but it doesn't represent material change. So that would work better for a blog post. Data and trends. Think big here. If you want to make a splash in the news with a recent report of de-identified data of your customers, make sure you're working with a data set that's large enough to be statistically significant, and thoroughly connect the dots between data and insights. Don't make hasty generalizations with small data points. Who does this well? Gong, Amplitude, and Pornhub. And if you're dealing with smaller data sets or anecdotal survey data, those could still be really valuable and would be great for a blog post. Now, we've gone through some categorical examples. Let's walk through just a few more common examples that might apply directly to you. A business partnership where you're launching a new product or service with another brand should be in a press release. But expanding a partnership or announcing a new vendor partnership with a customer support platform will be better in a blog post. A new product that represents a big change from your existing line would be great in a press release. But a new feature or a slightly different version of your product would work well on your blog. An award you've received from a household name like Fortune's Best Place to Work would be great in a press release. Meanwhile, an award for a niche or industry name could work on your blog, where your readers already know that niche. Finally, I should mention that when you do issue a press release, it doesn't mean you can't also use your blog. After all, if something was important enough to merit a press release, there's probably follow-up content that would look really good on your blog. NutriBullet, for instance, did a press release on the launch of their new Juicer Pro, and then they followed it up with a couple of blog posts. Publishing your news as either a press release or a blog post might seem like a subtle distinction, but I can't emphasize enough what impact it has on who's seeing your news and who's linking to it, and how much control it gives you over your visibility and authority in your industry. Now you have some strategies and some specific examples of how you can take advantage of this distinction, and now you can make sure your PR and content strategies are working hand in hand. If you want to learn more about this topic or continue to upgrade your content marketing strategy, be sure to like and subscribe. And be sure to check out our previous video on how to incorporate PR and news into your blog's editorial calendar. And if you have an example of company news and announcements that you find especially successful, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.